So for the high dot gain issue, we had to remove separations. Before we used simply the channel mixer of Photoshop, manual way of working, and between operators, of course, not always the same values and results, and time consuming proving to get on target. Also the total area coverage, not important also to mention. To have a good total area coverage, TAC, we used a combination of several techniques: selective color, channel mixer, curves, different selection tools, and it was subject to human interpretation. To have a good result, we then switched to a viewer where we can see the total area coverage. If they are above it, then it was highlighted. If there were still zones above it, we had to return to Photoshop, do adjustment, again viewing, and so on and so on. So big, very often trial and error to get the right values. With the plugin introduced some years ago in Athena Graphics, we have the same result along all different operators, fast results, and most of the time right on target. So let's go back now to Photoshop, where I have this image here. The first thing we always do is simulate how it will be printed in Flexo. So I have here a simulation curve, which actually bumps, that's the curve you will see here, which actually bumps all the values to some higher percentages. Then we have a look at the separations. So this is the cyan, looks quite well for Flexo because we have overall the image, we have a minimum dot of 1%. Magenta is also nice too, as well as the yellow. But in the black, we have here some breakouts in these sugars. First thing I will do when I see biscuits, I talked about building an image with as less as color as possible. Now we have here 4 colors for the biscuits. The color we always remove is the cyan. So that's the first thing we did. We make a selection, which I have already prepared, of the biscuits. Then we went to channel mixer, and then it was the trick to just take the cyan channel, put this onto 0, and then the loss of cyan needs to be compensated into the other channels, most of the time in black, of course, but still in some other channels, yellow and the magenta. But the result is still some different. So I have to adjust my magenta a little bit. Typically, if you remove cyan out of brown areas, it will become more red. So I have to reduce that, and perhaps I have to add some selective color adjustment layer to adjust the blacks so that they are not so strong in the image. And then I may already have a result that is good enough for printing, but as you see, it's not the same as the original image, but good. Cyan is now removed from the image. It will prevent that when printing the biscuits have a rather greenish look. Without cyan, it can't happen. For the sugars, the same thing, but then with the black, I have my selection of my sugars here. Then I used a channel mixer, go to the black channel, remove all the black, and then compensate the loss of black into these other channels. Oh. And then switching, if this is already a good result, or go to the cyan a little bit more, to have a result that is before and after nearly the same. Then I had here in this zone an area that's quite high, 330. I want my total area coverage on 290 for this printer. So I have here a problem, but perhaps also here in the spoon there can be a problem. So for doing that, I used also the selective color, but then overall my image, I used the blacks and then reduced cyan, magenta, yellow a little bit more of black to have a result that is nearly the same, but with a total area coverage which is good. It's between or under 290%. So this was the manual way of working. As you see, the result is not the same as the original image, but maybe after some proofing and so on, the result is feasible or is good enough. Now the big difference came with the introduction of the plugin. I can now do exactly the same, but faster and better. I want to remove, first step, I want to remove the cyan out of the image. I copy my layer. I name this no cyan. Then I go to the channel remover plugin. I uncheck the cyan, and I directly here have also a value for the total area coverage at 290. I press OK. And then my whole image, as you see here, cyan is all removed. I then apply a curve or a mask to have only no cyan into the biscuits. And the before and after, you can't believe it, but it's true. It's visually exactly the same. So that was a big advantage for us. No more struggling here with values, no cyan in it. GMG plugin removes it, and you see no difference at all. For the sugars, the same thing, copying this layer, name it no black. Then I went to my channel remover and check my black. Black is now removed all over my image. Then I load my sugar selection, create a mask. Do not have black anymore here. Then the last thing was overall my image, the total area coverage. Copy, I name it TAC 290. Go to my channel remover again, check all the channels to keep. TAC value is set. Then again, you see hardly no difference between values, but if I measure here, I see indeed a TAC value which is maximum to 90%. If I then switch on to my flexo bump curve again, I see there is no problem here in the black. All my other channels have minimum dots, and in a few clicks, as you see, is this image nearly ready to print.